Hello guys and gals, me Mutahar, and ladies and gentlemen, yesterday was the biggest social media ban in human history. Now, we're reeling in from a group of people who think that Dr. Disrespect, was the biggest ban ever, and it might as well be, on Twitch, given the fact that, we still have no idea what he got banned for. I'm just gonna be real, there's no real speculation. Probably something to do business related, millions of dollars on the line, something happened, but that's just pure speculation. What I know over here is Twitter basically banned Donald Trump's account, 88 million followers, proving you could be the most powerful person in the face of the planet and have a very, very high follower count, but Twitter doesn't care. They want you gone, they want you gone. Now, there's been a lot of stuff covered over here, but I want to start this video off with a solemn, funeral, okay? Can we have an F in the chat? I know we're not live streaming, a good F in the chat for Jeff T. Drick over here, who basically lost his life's work at this point. 683,000 followers. He's basically like a reply guy for Trump. Yeah, you don't know what a reply guy is? Woo-hoo-hoo! You missed out on the internet for the last 10 years, let me tell you. He basically was the biggest reply guy, getting in tens of thousands of tweets, and ever since he got banned, he's like, well, fuck, I guess I'll go read a book. And, he has a Patreon where he was drawing $500 at one point plus, proving that, yes, ladies and gentlemen, follow your fucking dreams. You can, in fact, be a shitposter and draw a salary from it. Now, all jokes aside, Trump basically got removed from the platform, and I've seen a lot of people throw up stuff like, fuck, our free speech is on the line. Now, I'm a free speech guy. I love the fact when the government lets me say what I want, and in this case, I'm gonna just flowchart it for you, okay? Twitter is not owned by the fucking government. I hate to be the bearer of bad fucking news on the internet, but if the government ran Twitter, if they owned it federally and they removed somebody off Twitter, yeah, you could say it's a ban on free fucking speech. But the problem is these are private companies that have the complete end fucking say in what you and I do on the internet. Now that's pretty fucked up, but we'll get to that later on. It's actually a far bigger situation than all of this, but we'll get to it in due time. Don't you fucking worry. When you look at social media platforms, before you sign up, there's always a terms of service you and I agree to. We sign on to this terms of service, and if we are caught breaking the terms of service, they remove us from the fucking platform. Now, most of the times, these high-profile bans that people really get up in arms, these super controversial bans, are all subjecting on individuals that were already circling the fucking drain of TOS anyways. You can't tell me that Trump, the president over here, the biggest shitposter on the fucking platform, wasn't for months, if not years on end, coming up with some really inflammatory fucking tweets from time to time. I mean, the dude basically fucking rejected science at this point. Let's be fucking real. There was a story about bleach and assholes that I recollected months ago, which if Twitter really gave a shit about human safety as much as it said violence and safety, motherfucker should have been banned a while ago. But Twitter let it go on, and I have no doubt that fucking Twitter profited from all this nonsense anyways, but that's a whole different fucking story. The fact that this ban happened is pretty much in coinciding with Trump being on the out and out. He's pretty much like at this point, dude's losing all of his power. Might as well put the final nail in the fucking coffin. But beyond the final nail in the coffin, he isn't just banned from Twitter. No. He's banned from fucking Facebook. He's banned from fucking Shopify, from TikTok. I mean, imagine going to TikTok with your fucking tail between your legs after all that shit. And now they're like, no, you're out. But let's roll on back a little bit to the terms of service stuff, okay? I like to equate this to something like, say, if I was to play Rainbow Six Siege, right? One of my favorite games. If I am ever caught breaking the terms of conditions, right? Let's say, for instance, I'm running wall hacks, I'm running through sites, I'm blowing people up immediately. I guess that's playing Ash, but if I'm playing Rainbow Six Siege and I break the terms of services and Ubisoft fucking bans me, then it's not my right to fucking complain about being banned. I fucking caused it on myself. If I'm sitting there being a toxic shitlord player to other people on the platform, okay, and that's clearly against the terms of service, or if I'm just circling that edge of the TOS, I'm not breaking it, but I'm sure as fuck getting close to it, and they end up banning me after constant behavior like that, then guess what? It's a private fucking company, and as much as I can bitch and complain about it, I lost my privilege to play on it. See, that's the difference in here. Using Twitter is a privilege, not a right. It's a social media service that you sign up with a private group and they let you on their platform or they don't. And if you don't like what fucking Twitter says, you can just sign off the platform and go somewhere fucking else. But that again gets a little too fucking hazy. Now, I understand a lot of people over here like to bring up the whole idea of free speech, and we talked about it. This is a private fucking group. In reality, there's just not a whole lot of options for anybody to jump to. Me personally, I'm one of those people where even if I disagree with somebody, I'd rather them be on the platform and constantly fucking barrage them with facts and reasoning. For instance, anti-vaxxers and all these people are groups that I heavily fucking despise. I despise people that go against basic common sense. Me and my dad especially loses it over people like anti-vaxxers. He just doesn't agree with it. He gets over. My dad has personally seen people like literally on the cusp of dying because their families are on anti-vax fucking, propaganda. So when you have these people on Facebook and they're in their 600-person group and they're fucking talking and there's one dude inciting this nonsense and they get fucking banned, all right, what ultimately happens is they go to another platform where they find 6,000 fucking people the same. So you get one dude that's already on like the fucking, tinfoil ring. They go and hang out with the sage of fucking tinfoil hats and they come back fucking more crazier than ever. That's something that I don't get with. I personally consider public ridicule the best form of fucking medicine to this kind of stupidity. But this whole situation goes beyond it, because the last couple days, there's been a fucking storm on the U.S. Capitol, dude, some serious shit. And I don't want to get political about it. I'd rather you guys fucking type Mutahard in the chat and fucking sexually harass me over turning this into some political nonsense. At the end of the day, the people who fucking raided that place are now busted by the FBI. I know, surprise Pikachu face. I've been seeing motherfuckers like, really? Wow, this is going a bit too far. Bro, my brown ass can't bring a fucking shady looking water bottle onto a fucking plane. You raided the Capitol and got busted by the feds in handcuffs. I consider that well off in my fucking scenario, let me tell you. But in reality over here, these people were basically being incited by a lot of these big political like figures or these big popular figures who were just basically letting it go on. At least on face value, you could dig up tweets and you could dig up posts where they were like, yeah, fuck it, dude, this is normal, this is fine. This shit was insane. There were like crazy bomb threats in the Capitol like a couple days ago. There were like photos of some dude with like zip ties. This was some crazy shit. I don't care what side you were on. It was fucking pandemonium. Everyone in the world was looking at it, and there was just kind of like, there was just an overall surprise. Now, because of this, Twitter and every social media service has cracked down on anybody promoting any form of violent behavior. Now, if I'm going to be completely fair and balanced in the situation, there's a lot more people that deserve the ban. If we're going with what's fair is fair, right? If we're going by stopping violence, there's people from every side of the spectrum that preach this kind of violent material all the time. If you're an Indian like me and you look at what's happening in our home state of India, like our home country, there is a lot of fucking crazies on every side that are always okay with blowing the brains out of people that they don't agree with. This is something that needs to be kind of curbed down if we're going with, again, the fair is fair mentality. But I like to think this special like banning was applied to the president simply because of the weird situation that was happening 2 days ago. Now, again, I said that I don't really agree with bans because I'd rather ideas be challenged. But when there's charismatic motherfucking people leading some crazy, like, dumbasses to, like, violent escapades, maybe at some point, yeah, the private platform has to fucking step in. Because then you got motherfuckers, getting blamed when something goes a bit too fucking far, when something goes beyond the realm of return, right? Now, this leads me into sort of the final point, and one of the reasons I wanted to make the video, which is showcasing to you guys how fucking insane big tech control is over anybody, right? Over anyone in the world. Now, if you look at the story of Cyberpunk 2077, right, you've got big corporations like Arasaka, like Militech, like Stovoil, and all these groups, right? Big corporations with power all over the world. I would argue that there are 4 big corporations nowadays that have some crazy level of power that is unprecedented. Companies like Google, companies like Amazon, Microsoft, and Facebook control percentages of the entire internet. You don't believe me? Anytime a Google service as a whole goes down, 30% of the internet fucking drops down with them. Multiple websites go down because these sites host the back end of most of our social media services. Twitter, Apple, whatever you have, they're simply not as big as some of these services out there. Amazon, for instance, provides the back end tech to Apple, to Netflix. So even Apple, right, pays millions upon millions of dollars a month to Amazon to run their entire cloud infrastructure, right? The app stores, the various like firmware update servers that they have, all that shit is done by Amazon. Netflix, whose competitor is Amazon Prime Video, literally pays a check to Amazon to host their videos and run the bandwidth and run the cloud system for Netflix right there. And the same can be applied to Twitter. Now, why this is important is when you look at alternate social media services, like the alternate to Twitter is something called Parler, which is basically Twitter, but shit, so effectively just Twitter in of itself, but with just a different community, right? Now, at the end of the day, when you look at Parler, right, and you look at what it's about, Parler right now is taken off of Google Play Store because they took it off simply because the idea of moderation was something Parler wasn't having. To be completely fair and neutral in the whole situation, their terms of service, fresh from the actual website over here, does say that they will knowingly not allow itself to be used as a tool for crime, civil torts, or other unlawful acts. We will remove reported member content that a reasonable and objective observer would believe constitutes or evidences such activity. Now, excluding sort of the weird passive-aggressive nature of this statement, they already have some sort of moderation, but of course, how much of this actually gets enacted, I have no idea, but that they have said it in their community guidelines. If you go to the terms of service though and you type in like violence, whoo, not a goddamn hit on the finder, let me tell you. Now, if you go onto Parler, there's some crazy unhinged motherfuckers, right? I think the most safest thing I could find on Parler is Alex Jones and him finding fucking alien 5G tech. Oh, dude. Alex Jones is the gift that keeps on fucking giving. Let me tell you, that dude is a fucking meme and a half. But that's probably some of the most normal stuff you can find. On Parler, you can find plenty of people advocating for violence all you want. It's moderation that Google simply cannot side with. Google and Apple distribute these applications on their app stores respectively. And if your application is, for instance, sending out pornographic material or sending out hateful material, they're going to fucking remove you from their stores. It's how it works. Now on Android, you can sideload the APK and get onto Parler. On Apple, there's no simple option. Apple, at the time of this video being uploaded, they might have already removed Parler 100%. And when you realize this, it's still not as bad as what I'm about to tell you. Parler right now is hosted primarily by Amazon Cloud Services. Now, this is, again, the big service that caters to Apple, to Netflix, or whatnot. Now, if you think, for instance, at any moment, Amazon can come up with a new terms of service on their system and say, listen, if you are hosting hateful, violent material, which, is inciting the masses, we're going to remove you from our cloud services. Now, at that point, I don't really disagree with that because, quite honestly, if you're promoting violence and you're going out to hurt other fucking people physically, then maybe you should curb your shit a little bit. But at this point, Amazon can step in and just remove you. Now, Parler at that point still has a couple options. They can go to Microsoft, Google, or Facebook. Or they fucking can't, because those services work well with each other and they're going to automatically remove you. You'll get blacklisted. Your entire fucking media presence dies because no cloud company wants to host your shit. And whether you agree with that or not, I would say it's very fucking powerful of all these tech companies in Silicon Valley. And this goes beyond too. This is just America. You go to Russia, they have their own fucking cloud servers. And you go to China, they have their own services like Tencent and Huawei at this point running the gamut over there. Shit is fucking insane. If you're a tech company, you have more power than fucking governments themselves. There used to be something called nation states. Now I think above nation states is just big tech. And that's pretty much where we're sitting at. So yeah, ladies and gentlemen, the biggest ban in human history happened yesterday. The fucking president got fucking insta-removed. And I think the funniest thing about the entire situation is not so much the whole censorship debate, but the fact that Trump right now is sitting there fucking crying and using multiple alt accounts to get out a tweet. He tried using alternate accounts. They immediately got banned. Twitter wasn't having any of that shit. The funniest thing is, map accounts on Twitter can still tweet, which is disgusting as fuck, and Trump is just gone. But ladies and gentlemen, this is me, Mutahar, and if you can tweet, let me know in the comment section below. If you can't, well, you can sit on the bench with the president, let me tell you. This is me, Mutahar, and I'm out.